Good day, everyone. Welcome to the weekly note of GTC Traders. This is a feature we do each week, as you can tell if you click on the little category for the GTC weekly note. This is something that we do each week. If you are new, I am the senior partner of a separate private proprietary firm, and we decided, hey, how about we put our weekly note up? We're not by any means the only one that does a weekly note. This is something that's very common among many firms, weekly note or a daily note. And we thought, hey, how about we just make this real easy on ourselves? How about we just copy and paste sort of our weekly note from our private proprietary firm and put it over here on GTC Traders. So that is what we do. And the article itself has all of the vagaries usually of different thoughts as far as the economic calendar for that week and what we see in interest rates and various markets. If you're sort of curious about a weekly note, if you go to the GTC Traders YouTube page and you look at something like the playlists, so you click over at the playlists, come down here, go to the GTC weekly and daily note playlist, look at the full playlist. The first three, maybe even the first four videos really describe why so many firms do this. Okay, so why so many firms have a weekly and a daily note, really what is the value of a weekly and daily note, what it is and what it is not. So that's just for folks who are new. And then, as I will now, I usually yabber on about the vagaries of each week. So this is the weekly note for February the 26th, 2024. I'm going to apologize if I sound a little weird. I've got that upper respiratory bug that's going around. I've had it for a few days now, and I thought I got rid of it, and it's sort of coming back around to kick me in the butt a little bit. So if I sound a little froggy, stumbling over my words a little bit, it's because this whole, ick. I've got the ick. Regardless, this is the weekly note. And other than the 3M position, the Palantir position, the USO position, and all the other positions we've got, as you know, we have been talking for a bit about SOFR futures and using that as sort of a tell from way back here, right? Using that as sort of a tell as interest rates move higher as the market moves lower. And that is with all of the economic data coming out and interest rates having to adjust to that. And I said recently, we've talked about all of it ad nauseum, right? We have. Reverse of globalization, that's a thesis, right? It's a thesis in regards to inflation being sticky and structural. It's a thesis, right? And as we've mentioned, we saw the higher rates. So what now? And I've mentioned, right? We have mentioned, all right, we need to see more inflationary data. Okay, so what does that mean going forward in the future? Beats the heck out of me. I don't know. Nobody knows. Anybody says they know is lying to you. Nobody knows. Okay? At DTG, they use this sort of saying, I think NJ is the one that came up with it, that in the end, all analysis really is just bullcrap. Right? And people are like, oh, wait a minute, isn't that what you're doing? When you talk about structural inflation, the reserve, man, I'm stumbling over my words here. Sorry for this infection. I want to wrap this up quickly too, because I'm struggling here, folks. But isn't that what you're talking about with like this thesis of structural inflation, interest rates moving lower? You wouldn't be surprised to see, H25 move lower and lower and lower. That was a thesis to determine, and this is something I've tried very desperately to explain over the years because people see it as prediction and I don't. It's very difficult to determine, and many people argue over where we're even at right now. Forget 9 months from now. I'm talking about right now. And prediction is impossible. All you have to do is look at a weather forecast, right? We've all seen these hurricane forecasts, and it's different models going off in different directions because of small changes in the water temperature or the air pressure or the temperature of the day and the surface temperature and the clouds at 30,000 feet. Anything could throw it off, right? And you have these spaghetti models and somewhat akin to a polyharmonic, spline analysis, right? Well, the main thing you got to know before any of these are right is where you're at the moment. And that's where there's a lot of, among serious macro guys, that's where the discussion's at. Because you can't even look like 50 miles down the road unless you know where you're at. So we got to determine where we're at. And that's all I've ever tried to do. And there's a lot of argument about that, even where we're at right now, much less where it's what part of Florida, a particular hurricane's going to hit. And of course, this has given rise, right, to the old joke, and you've probably seen the meme, actual forecast for hurricane. Because why did this come about? Because nobody really knows. It doesn't matter how complex your model is. Nobody knows. In the end, all analysis 9 months down the road is bullcrap. Sorry, but it is. Some folks I know who have followed me for, my goodness, it's over a decade now. But like back in 2008, it's like, no, Dan, you predicted that, right? You got the whole financial crisis right. What I was actually doing is trying to determine where we're at. And I think it was in January of 2008, I want to say. Something like that. Was it February? Maybe it was February. Maybe it was February of 2008. But I was like, the gig's up, folks. That's it. That wasn't me predicting necessarily what was to come about, although I think it just wasn't. It wasn't prediction. It was like, folks, the blood's already spilled. Sorry, but the corpse is on the floor. It's already done. It's just going to take the market time to figure out what's happened. So again, it looks like prediction. It's more determining accurately where we're at right now. What was Rambo, John Moulton's term for it? The head of the comet, right? Trying to be at that head of the comet, trying to determine where we're at right now. Not the comet's tail, not all this stuff back here, but where we're at right now. That's the trick. So at the moment, beats the snot out of me. I'll put trades on. You don't have to know where the market's going. You don't have to predict jack all to trade the markets very profitably with great risk-adjusted metrics, right? You can trade not having to know one whip stitch about the future. There's a lot of guys out there, professional traders, have been trading for longer than I have. Some of these guys have been trading for 40 years. And they always like to say that, right? I'm a trader. I have no idea where the market's going, and I don't really care. And I've said that for a long time. I used to have this mantra, where's the market going? I don't know, and I don't care. Because I can make trades without having to know where the market's going. That's not what a risk model is all about. We were talking about that earlier in the Twitter stream. All this hyper-focus on entrances, right? Completely unwarranted. So I will say this. When we look at SOFR futures, March of 2024 is getting ready to roll over. It will be in June of 2024. So June of 2024 is what we're looking at. And that means if we're looking off into a year, rather than be looking at, as foretell what interest rate markets are thinking. God, I've got to finish this video because my throat feels like it's on fire and I can barely talk. So I got to finish this up. I'm going to be tripping over my words like crazy. Regardless, if we're rolling to June of 2024, then that means a year is very obviously June of 2025, right? So this will probably be the market we're looking at now and watching it as data comes in, because I think all of February, we got an inflation release this week, by the way, all of February, March, and April are going to be absolutely critical. And I don't know. I have no problem saying I don't know. Data dependent. However you want to dress it up, I don't know, and I don't need to know. And I'll still be placing trades. I was looking for a few trades the other day when I crawled out of my deathbed. Felt like Cameron and Ferris Bueller. When Cameron was in Egypt's land, let my Cameron go. So, excuse me, I'm still looking for trades. That's my thoughts going into this week and into this data. I'm just going to be taking it as it comes. These thoughts are good until they're canceled, and that's what they always are. Simply been our thoughts, not yours, for whatever the heck day it is. As always, stay safe, trade well, and remember that love doesn't cost to die.